African.
Now, welcome to Hot News right here on Pan-African Television. We are live on Facebook at Pan-African Television. We are also live on YouTube at Pan-African Television, as well as 48 African countries. You can join in the conversation by sending in your views, comments, and contributions on our WhatsApp/text line. We'll make a time and read all those out for you. Those of you watching us on Facebook can share the Facebook Live for other people to also watch tonight's edition of the program. You can leave your suggestions, questions, and whatnot on our social media pages as well. I'll make a time and read all those out for you. Tonight on Hot News, we are looking at litany of issues pertaining to the approval and rejection of the 2022 budget, as well as some issues that are coming up. You know that the minority in Parliament earlier rejected the 2022 budget. Later, the majority also reversed that decision by approving it. We don't know if the 2022 budget is passed, approved, or rejected. As it stands now, as a journalist, I'm unable to tell if it is hanging, if it is approved or rejected. But we'll get to know all these things before we leave here. We're going for a short break. We'll be right back.
African Center for Capacity Building, AFCAP, organizes the following executive and advanced certificate programs like Executive Certificate in Project Management, Executive Certificate in Human Resource Management, Executive Certificate in Real Estate and Property Management, Executive Certificate in Data and Records Keeping, Executive Certificate in Monitoring and Evaluation, Executive Certificate in Logistics and Transport Management, Executive Certificate in CCTV Monitoring and Installation. AFCAP, where capacity building is our priority. For registration and enquiries, please call 0244-405047, 0242-135523. We have our branches in Accra, Tamale, Kumasi, and Wa. Saturdays and weekdays sessions are available. Admission is still in progress. Enroll now. Join the African professionals. AFCAP, where capacity building is our priority.
Welcome back. You're still watching Hot News right here on Pan-African Television with me, Justice Appiah. And tonight, as I said earlier, we are looking at the budget, its approval, rejection, and other issues that are actually, coming up. And we've been joined in the studio by the Member of Parliament for Bunkrugu, Honorable Abednego Bandim. Honorable, good evening.
Good
because
evening.
the program is going to be aired in the evening anyway.
Definitely.
Right. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. Are you?
I'm very well. How's the constituency?
The constituency is doing very well, and I'm constantly in touch with the constituency, and they are doing very well.
I see. All right, let's move straight to business. I mean, the 2022 budget, its rejection, reversal by the majority approving it and all of that, it became a whole lot of issues, or a whole lot of issue in Parliament. What is the current state of the 2022 budget?
Well, the current state of the 2022 budget will definitely be determined by the motions that our side, led by the Honorable Aaron Edriso,
Right.
and the Honorable Mama Yarga, if you remember, putting a motion, and the determination of the current status of the budget will be dependent on when the motion is admitted. If you will recall, the second or first deputy speaker, actually, Joseph Osewusu,
Right.
refused the admission of that motion after he initially admitted it, allowed a debate, and then instead of him to put a question, he sought to rule, which we objected, and Parliament was disrupted. So we came back to contest and sought to put that motion back. And then he wrote to our leadership and said that he wasn't going to admit it on the grounds of quoting the standing orders that is of no relation at all to his rejection.
Right.
So we are determined as a caucus to come back again, and I believe that when admitted, we will determine the status of the current budget.
Right. I mean, what are your grounds? I'm talking about the minority for rejecting the budget. What's wrong with the budget? What at all is wrong with it?
Well, when the budget was read, we discovered that the budget was a killer budget. If you recall also that we named it a killer budget.
Right.
Because we know that there is so much hardship in the country. So our leader, Harun Edrisu, coined it a Krumyeshi budget.
Right.
You know, and already the temperature is hot. Things are not working. And then you come with a budget that's seek to introduce more taxes to the people. So it means you are killing the people. So that's why we call it a killer budget. Particularly the introduction of e-levy is what is the killer.
What's wrong with the government introducing taxes to develop the state?
There is everything wrong with the government introducing taxes to develop the state, because we have a government that has collected so much money in terms of the taxes they raise. They have taken so much donor monies. They have borrowed, okay, in addition to COVID-19 fund.
Right.
All of this money put together could have done a lot for this country, but they have failed to deliver on their campaign promises because we haven't seen roads built, even though they have on 3 consecutive years declared those years as the years of roads.
Right.
And yet we haven't seen roads anywhere. There are no hospitals built anywhere. There are no schools built anywhere. In fact, when His Excellency the President, the former President, John Dramani Mahama, was in power, we saw the construction of E-blocks to various constituencies. We saw the construction of hospitals. We saw roads asphalted. Okay, but this government has borrowed so much, in addition to the tax they are collecting, and you know, and COVID-19 funds, and yet we cannot match what has come in and what they have been able to do on the ground. That is why we are against the COVID.
The government has given very tangible reasons as to why they have introduced the e-levy, the 1.75% e-levy.
Yes.
And they are saying that this will help in building infrastructure, including roads and all of that. They've also spoken about the fact, they've also talked about the fact that this will also help government generate some revenue in creating jobs for the teeming youth of this country. All these things are things government needs to do and would need money for. why don't you give them benefit of doubt?
That is true. However, the point I'm making is that the monies, the amount of monies government has been able to raise by borrowing, by virtue of tax, and by also getting COVID-19 funds put together, should have been able to do at least half of what they are saying they want to do. They cannot at this time, this evening, now tell us that it is only the e-levies that can come to do what they were supposed to do with the monies that they have been able to rake in as revenue. So we are not convinced. If government can demonstrate that these monies would be used in the development and in improving our health conditions and providing employment for our youth, they should have done that with what they got since 2020, as in COVID-19 funds, as in the amount of loans that they have procured outside of this country. But nothing of that is on the ground to see. So how do you tax the people more when you are not doing anything? That is our contention.
Right. I know that apart from the e-levy, you have other reasons for rejecting the budget. You said that they did not include anything on the Kita tidal waves in the budget.
That's right.
You've also said that the benchmark value, I mean, is also one of the grounds upon which you've rejected it, and some other reasons. Government said, and I heard the finance minister said, that, well, they have met you halfway. Some of the things you've talked about, they have actually found a way to take some out, bring some in. For instance, the Kita tidal waves, they've now made some allocations for work to begin on the, you know, on some findings to be made before the second phase of the defense be constructed. Yeah. The Japan deal you mentioned, they have reviewed it. Eka Energy, they have also reviewed that. Government has met you reasonably. Isn't it time, minority, you say that, okay, well, we are satisfied. Let's allow this to go?
Well, it would depend on the concessions that they are making, whether they are satisfactory or not.
Okay.
First of all, with reference to the tidal waves that you just made, the concession in there, we are told by the Minister of Finance that the monies allocated is only for feasibility studies.
Okay.
But we are saying that the people were affected, the people of Kita and other people who are living along the coast were affected. And government needed at least to show some concern for the people.
Are you saying that government hasn't shown any concern since this issue, you know, came up?
Well, the government didn't until we made noise about it in Parliament and until the former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, mobilized some items, relief items to go to assist the people. Then government now sent the NADMO people. The NADMO people went virtually empty-handed.
Right.
There was nothing virtually for them to give to the people to relieve them of their pain. Remember, majority of them lost their houses. They didn't have anywhere to sleep. Compared to what the government went to do, I mean, cannot be said to be anything, you know. And then very recently, if you heard the Minister for Energy,
right,
the respected Honorable Napu, who has served as a Minister of Education before and has been in politics long before I thought of coming to politics, sat on a TV station in Kumasi and vowed that if government makes any allocation to the people of Kita, he will lead a demonstration against government in Kumasi.
I thought he said that on Appiah FM.
Yes, he said that.
Yes, yes. And I saw that video, I heard it.
And that was very unfortunate. And that only reflects the posture of government. Because as a minister, and as a senior minister of his stature, of his caliber, to have said that, tells us that that is the posture the president and his ministers and cabinet hold. Because a minister of his stature should not be making such utterances. It is so divisive and against the people of the Volta region. And that is why we are not taking the concession they have made in good faith. Because after all, the concession is saying it is to commence what? Feasibility studies. What about the people who are still in this place? They don't have places to sleep. What are you doing for them? And government must come clear with this issue so we can, as you are saying, meet each other halfway. With regards to Accra Energy, yes, they have rephrased the original text or language in the budget. Ejapa, in fact, we said no, don't characterize our mineral resources ahead of time, because look, we have a generation that is coming after us, and this is what we can leave for them. So why do you want us to squander it now? It is the attitude of the NPP government, property-owning democracy.
I see.
And they want to squander everything, forgetting that we have a generation that will come after us. What are we leaving for them? Every country is mindful of their future generation. Why are we squandering everything?
When I was
and then also to land on the e-levy, government has been very adamant on the e-levy. The concession came, and there was nothing about the e-levy. And we are saying that we are very much in tune with the masses on the ground. The people of Ghana are against the e-levy, and we in the minority will stand with the people of Ghana to reject the e-levy. That, I promise you, is a no, no, no.
But the finance minister maintains that the e-levy is the best way to generate enough revenue for this country.
Yes, that is what he's saying. But we think that they have had enough of money to have done a lot of things that they promised they were going to do. Once we haven't seen what they have done with what they had, we cannot be giving them more.
This government said they have done free senior high school policy. Yes. They have done one district, one factory. They have done one village, one dam in the north. This government is also telling you, Honorable Abednego, that, look, they have provided ambulances to all constituencies across the country. The digital address system and all of that have been initiatives by government. And these things are things that really, you know, consumed a lot of money. Are you saying that you've not seen anything done by this government with the monies they've borrowed and the monies they received from the state?
Well, most of the things that you have just counted that government has done, we know, you and I live in this country, that they were just cosmetic shoes or dressing of the things that they wanted to do. If you take, for example, the free education, you and I know that it is not working. The very people that you implemented free education for are the very people who are saying that, no, don't tax us. Because if the free education policy was working as of today, I don't think people will have problems being taxed to pay more so that they can get more relief policies for them. But it is not working. For example, I am an MP from a rural constituency.
That's true.
Okay. And under the free education policy, if you have a 16-year-old girl or a 15-year-old girl who is sent from Bunkrugu or from Nanyar or let's say from Tatala to Kumasi, Prempeh, as a day student, how is that 15-year-old or 16-year-old girl going to cope? The parents have to look for an accommodation, and accommodation in Kumasi will cost so much, or any part of the country will cost so much. And remember, when you have to pay for an accommodation, you are asked to pay in advance a number of years before you can be given access. That parent will also have to transport the child from the rural area to the city center. That child is left alone. There is no any supervision whatsoever. Okay? And that is why under the policy, we've had more young girls getting pregnant than before. Okay? If you go, Joy FM very recently did their own research.
Right.
Okay? And they came out with the results that since the introduction of the free HSS, there has been more pregnancies in the country than it was. So the policy is not working. You have highlighted other policies.
Right.
It is the same. Look at NAPCO. NAPCO has not worked. They have come to abolish it. Last month they said it was, in fact, under the budget, the minister announced that the NAPCO policy was coming to an end. And as we speak, they have asked people to go home. So these are policies that are not working. One village, one dam has not worked. We know. As I keep on saying, as a rural MP, I know that in my district, there are no one village, one dam. Okay, they were just dugouts that now have dried.
I see.
So they only came during the rainy season to just dig something, and then after that, it's dried up. The animals can't get water to drink. The few boreholes that the NGOs drilled for us, our women are competing with animals. And yet the government is talking about all of this as achievement. They are touting it as achievement. And we don't see, the people on the ground don't see it. There are other policies. One district, one factory. At least from where I come from the Bunkpurgu constituency, there is no single factory. How many years have they been in power? There is no factory in Bunkpurgu. There is no factory in the adjoining district like Yuyu, Chaupuni, Nalergu, Gambaga. There is no one single factory. In fact, in the whole of Northeast, that has 6 constituencies, there is only one factory they are building in Wale Wale, the vice president's hometown.
Right.
Okay? Which is taking several years to be completed. Yes, by the roadside. Yes, a watermelon, so-called watermelon factory. We don't know what is happening with it. So in the whole of the Northeast, which has 6 constituencies, I can't count any other factory apart from the one that they said they are building, which are not being done. Let me reveal to you that we discovered only last week when the MP for, was it Boli Bomboy or one of those constituencies, asked the Minister of Sanitation how many boreholes government has been able to drill since they took power in 2017. It came out in her answer that in the whole of Savannah region, a single borehole has not been built. In the whole of Northeast, the hometown of the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, a single borehole has not been built.
I see.
For all these years they have been in power. So we are living under the benevolence of the NGOs that are helping us drill boreholes for our people. Or else, if we want to rely on this government, we would have died of water shortages. You understand? So the government makes so much noise and does so little, if not nothing at all, to be very charitable.
Vero, the finance minister has served a warning.
Yes.
That there are repercussions if the budget is rejected, which means that workers, especially public sector workers, would not be paid.
Okay.
Government is unable to carry on with its activities for 2022. We are likely to have the government crashed. Honorable, the minority's decision to reject the budget, isn't that spelling doom for this country?
Not at all. You see, the finance minister is trying to play politics.
I see.
You know, by trying to incite the general public or Ghanaian workers against the minority who are actually standing with them by making those pronouncements. It is not true that government will come to a halt if the budget is not approved.
Okay.
Let me tell you that per our standing orders.
All right.
Okay, per our standing orders. The finance minister can come to Parliament on a vote on account, where government will allocate monies for salaries of workers and for any other emergency expenses that the finance minister needs to incur.
Right.
So to say that if the budget is not approved, then workers will not get salaries, is trying to pitch workers against the minority. Okay? But they are the same workers, he, the finance minister, is charging 1.75% of e-levies. And the same workers, he's trying to pitch them against the minority who are standing with them. So it is not true. He can come on vote on accounts, and Parliament will be very happy to approve it, at least for 3 months, so that he can continue to run government and to pay workers. So that's, we don't buy it.
When it comes to the e-levy, once again, the finance minister has said that he will continue to engage your side on the matter. Are we looking at getting to a point where there will be some sort of agreement? You are asking for the entire e-levy thing to be scrapped. It should be taken out of the budget. What if there is a reduction, a reasonable one at that?
Well, he came to Parliament, remember, on the day that we were going to vote on the budget, and indeed wanted, in his own words, had a prayer to make on the floor of Parliament even before the debate on the budget concluded. But we said no. After you presented the budget, we went for post-budget workshops and considered everything in whole, and even came back to commence debates on the budget for a week. And on the day that the debate was to be summarized by our leaders, then you now come with a prayer, okay, trying to make concession. Then, if you recall, Mr. Speaker said, no, allow the debate to continue. In fact, it was our leader, the minority leader, who said, no, today we are to conclude debate on the budget, and the vote will be taken. So if the finance minister has a prayer to make, at least he should allow the debate to be concluded before he can make those prayers that he wanted to make. So Speaker allowed the debate to conclude. So the minority leader concluded his debate, then the majority leader also did. And then he was allowed to make the prayer. And then he now said that, oh, he wanted more time to engage with us before a vote will be taken on the budget. Right. But we thought that was not fair, particularly when, after the delivery of the budget, the minister himself was not even in Parliament to listen to the various concerns that were raised during the debates. And at some point, our side called on the minister to be present so that he can be abreast with the issues that members were raising on behalf of their constituents with regards to the budget. But he wasn't. Now, when an opportunity was given for him to present his prayer, he only called for more engagement. We said no. And in Mr. Speaker's own words, he said, Mr. Minister, you had every opportunity to do this engagement before coming to present the budget. And even after the presentation of your budget, there was still room for you to engage all stakeholders, not only the minority group. Even at the budget, post-budget workshop, he was there. He was in Ho when we went to Ho for the post-budget workshop. The minister was there. He didn't find it necessary to engage on the issues that we were raising all along, only to come on the floor of Parliament on the day that the budget was to be voted on to say that he wants to engage. And we thought that was unfortunate. Well, we are still open with the engagement because we are helping government to run. The people must not suffer. And so as far as time is going, you know, things will not be running properly. So we are not putting impediment on government. If the finance minister wants to engage with the minority at any time, our doors are open for him to come and engage us. But he would have to be truthful with us, have to put the figures, and also listen to us. But if you close your ears and you're not willing and ready to listen to the suggestions that the minority group has, then there is no engagement. So he must come clear and be prepared to listen to us.
And be prepared to listen to the minority. Viewers, you're still watching Hot News right here on Pan African Television with me, Justice Appiah. Keep your messages coming in. We'll make a time and read all those out for you. Those of you watching us on Facebook, please share the Facebook Live for other people to also watch tonight's edition of the program. Now, Honorable, let me come to your committee. I believe you are on the Communications Committee in Parliament.
That's
very
right,
well.
yes.
The Communications Committee of Parliament has suspended the consideration of the 2022 budget estimates for the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization. According to the committee, the ministry has failed in the past 6 years to furnish the House with audited accounts of the National Communications Authority, NCA, and other agencies under its supervision. True or false?
Well, true.
You have suspended.
True, but with explanations.
What are the
we need to offer.
explanations?
Yes, when we're scheduled to meet with the minister and her team to consider their estimates, I raised a concern,
Right.
okay, to the effect that the minister was in violation of the standing orders of Parliament, particularly Order 105.
Okay.
That gives Parliament the power to compel for the production of documents. And then also the Order 105 take its root from the 1992 Constitution, particularly Article 103(6). That also demands that certain documents and reports can be procured by Parliament.
Right.
The third violation is the National Communications Act, the act that establishes the National Communications Authority.
Okay.
Act 679 of 2008. And if you look at Section 23, 3 of the Act, says that the board of the National Communications Authority shall within a month submit to the minister the annual reports of the authority. That is after, including the audited report. So after the Auditor General has done its work by auditing the authority, then the board will have to take the report and submit it to the Minister of Communications. And within a month of receipts of the report, will also lay the report to Parliament.
Right.
But we had a situation in 2017, 2018, and 2019, for 2020 actually, because a report has to be submitted the year after.
Exactly. Yeah.
You understand? So if you add 2020, then they are in deficits of how many? I think 6
years.
Reports. That the minister has not laid this report to Parliament. So we in the Communications Committee could not or doesn't even know the situation at NCA. So when she appeared before the committee for the estimates, I raised the objection that until those reports were submitted to the committee should not engage the minister. So they should go and come back with a report before we can sit down to have a discussion on their estimates.
This committee of yours has been in Parliament all this while, and for the past 6 years,
yes,
audited reports have not been submitted. What did they do about it? Why are you now demanding for those reports?
No, we are not only now demanding for the committees, for the report. We have consistently, anytime we had the opportunity to engage the minister, we drew her attention.
What reasons were ascribed to why the reports have not been submitted?
Well, she kept,
from 2015.
Yes, she kept on telling us that the authority, the NCA, had not submitted to her the report. And in fact, when we met to consider the estimate, she had that posture that until she receives the report, she was unable to lay anything because she has to receive the report. And I made the point that, no, you don't sit down and wait until the NCA brings you the report before you give it to Parliament. But as the supervising minister of the communications industry, of which the NCA is under your supervision, you have the authority to prevail on them to furnish you with their report. So if NCA is not submitting their report, then your supervision powers is questionable, or it will be questioned. So I think at some point when she insisted, then we made her to understand that no, it was an indictment on her if for all these years, under her supervision, the authority is not submitting reports.
Wow. Anyway, but I learned she also talked about the fact that some of the reports have been submitted also. I don't know if that has got into your notice.
Yes, that is true. It was at that same meeting that she had 2 reports with her at the meeting. I'm sure she may have, heard from the grapevine that we were going to demand for the report.
Right.
So she came with 2 reports and said that there was another report that was at the press, and that once that is printed, she will add it, making 3 out of the 6. And that based on that, we should consider the estimates. And we insisted that no, because the report that she was holding at that material movement, we didn't know what it contained, and that the report should be properly laid before Parliament. So you don't appear to the committee with reports in your hands when officially you have not laid before Parliament. So it went back and forth, and then sitting was suspended. To go back and look at to consult. And then when we resumed, we agreed that, well, because she had 2 reports in her hands, and one was to be printed, so 3 reports, we could continue with the estimates.
Oh, are these decisions taken by you, the members of Parliament? Today, we are rejecting the budget. Another group will come, we have approved it. Tomorrow, we are suspending sitting because a certain minister has not done something right and all of that. Are these things not detrimental to the development of this country?
Are you talking about the decisions of suspension of Parliament or rejection? Or you're talking about the fact that what is supposed to be done by ministers legally or constitutionally are not being done? Which one are you talking about? It would be detrimental if ministers who are supposed to perform their constitutional duties are not doing it. It behoves on the ministers to make sure that they obey the laws of this country. For example, in this budget season, right after the Minister of Finance presented the budget and mentioned in the budget that they were going to suspend road tolls.
Yeah.
What did we see? Immediately we saw the road minister abolished road tolls and made the workers who were engaged there to go home and all of that
also brought a lot
without
of
engaging them. And that was a violation of the road tax act, because this is done by law. It is legal to take road tolls. And if a minister without recourse to parliament decide that that law be abolished, then that is very detrimental to the development of this country. So the ministers or this particular government must begin to obey the laws and the constitution of this country. If they don't, that is what I would describe as being detrimental to the development of this country, because we are a country governed by law. We are a country that respects our constitution. It is not a banana republic where a minister can get up one afternoon and take a decision against what the constitution says or what the law says.
I was about to ask you if you have listened to the Otumfuo 32.
Yes.
On the statement he made, you know, against or about you, the members of parliament, and the fact that, you know, you don't have to frustrate the executive. My question was actually premised on that because you think that now we have a hung parliament, sort of, you would do everything within your power to frustrate government, which will go a long way to impede the development of the state.
Not at all. First of all, the respected king of the Ashanti Kingdom is a citizen of the country, and he's entitled to make pronouncements that he deems fit. But there are others who are also citizens and are entitled to disagree with the Otumfuo. It is true that the minority should not be seen to be dictating to government policy or policies that they present.
But is that not what you're doing?
No. That is not what is
came
happening.
out with a budget. You said because they didn't include something that happened in Keta, you're rejecting it. Are you not dictating to government by including at all costs the Keta tidal waves in the budget?
Not at all. I don't think that is what we are doing.
But that is how the energy minister understood your act. And that's how come you said that, well, look, the people of Kumasi were also hit with floods.
Yes.
If government didn't do anything about that, government hasn't included that in the budget and would include that of Keta, he will lead the people of Kumasi to demonstrate.
Well, the minister is a member of parliament and he's representing the people of, is it Manshia?
Yeah.
Yes. And if the people of Kumasi or Manshia, whom he represents, was struck by a natural disaster, as a member of parliament, it was within his right to raise the issue on the floor of parliament and demand that government do something about it.
Right.
If he slept on his right, and today, because some other people are speaking and standing with their people and demanding for government to respect the rights of their people, he shouldn't just wake up from his slumber and start making statements that are unnecessary. That is how I perceive it. Because the people of Keta are citizens of this country. Let me bring this issue.
Right.
We are talking about natural disasters. If you will recall, when Sierra Leone, our sister nation, was struck by a natural disaster, the president of this country under this government, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, doled out about $1 million in support of the people of Sierra Leone. That was how much Ghana gave under this president.
Right.
as humanitarian gesture coming from Ghana. When you remember the church, the Notre Dame church in France,
yeah.
caught fire or gutted by fire, the president sent a message of condolence to the people of France. But when the tidal wave affected the people of Qatar, till date, the president has not uttered a word.
In fact, another example is George Floyd in America.
In America, that is right. The president spoke about it. But your own people, the people whose taxes you are using to rent jets, luxury jets, to travel and come back, the people you are seeking to tax as e-levy, they are faced with a natural disaster, and the president has not uttered a word, said anything, and has not sent any relief items to help those people. So what is Maxwell Napoko talking about? With the issue of the Otumfo's remark or concern, you know, we are not obstructing government at all. It is not. And nobody should feel that because it is a hung parliament. In fact, the government should, in actual fact, recognize that fact, that indeed it is a hung government, that we have equal numbers in parliament today. And therefore, decision-making will not be as easy as in the 7th parliament and other parliament where governments had overwhelming majority.
Right.
They have to respect that, first of all. And know that under that circumstances, what will save the situation is what? To engage. But most of their policies, most of their decisions are done without the engagement of the minority. They are done without the engagement of civil society and Ghanaians. That is what they must wake up to, that reality, that it is a hung parliament. And what we are doing is simply to draw government's attention that you have that obligation to engage, that listen to the masses of the people, which the minority conveys to government. And that is what they are not doing. As for their policies, Ghanaians will judge them. It's just like the free HSS that we talked about.
Right.
It's just like the one dump, one village, it's just one district, one factory. Ghanaians will be the best judges. And I believe that in 2024, come 2024, Ghanaians will judge them very fairly and will thank them to go and sit down and allow the NDC to come and continue with the good policies that we started.
Now back to I mean your committee. The minister has, you know, submitted 2 of the audited reports, 2015 and 2016, I think so. Is it 2015, 2016 or 2016, 2017?
Yes.
I think 2015, 2016.
Yes.
What happens if she is unable to submit those other ones you are demanding for?
Well, we will meet as a committee to determine. It is not for me sitting here to preempt what the committee will do. I'm just one member of the committee. But the committee is made up of about 19 people. So that will be the decision of the committee. Remember, we also have a ranking and his deputy in the person of the respected Alhaji Appiah Fusheni and his deputy, the Honorable Sam George, MP for Ningo Pram Pram.
Right.
These are respected MPs, well-versed, have served in the committee for a number of years now. And I believe that when we get there, then we will cross. But allow me to end on the two-force issue.
Right.
It's so interesting that some of our statesmen choose and pick what national issues to comment on and to give advice on. I think that there has been a lot of national issues that has been of concern to Ghanaians that the respected king never commented about. For example, the issue of killings during the 2020 elections.
Okay.
There were people who were shot, aimed at and shot. Okay? Maybe the Otunfo said something that I didn't hear.
Okay.
But I never heard the Otunfo comment about it. Lives were lost. Lives were lost. In Techiman, in the central region, and most parts of the country.
Right.
We didn't see the Otunfo or the Peace Council talk about it. When we went to Parliament to vote for a Speaker of Parliament, we saw the military invade the floor of Parliament. That was a serious crime.
Right.
It should not, in fact, it is a blot on our democracy that the military acting on the directives of the executives, usurping the powers of another arm of government, the legislature. We didn't hear the Peace Council. They think that the peace of the country was not disturbed. We didn't hear the eminent Otunfo talk about it. There has been a lot of issues, national interest, that they don't talk, but choose to talk on the minority holding government accountable in Parliament. That one is convenient. I think there's something wrong somewhere. And I think that, with all due respect, the Peace Council and Otunfo, who we all look up to for the democracy to continue to strive, should sit up and then offer advices on every national issue of interest. If the government is wrong, they should be bold to tell the government that this is wrong. No. If the minority is wrong, when they speak, we will hear and amend our ways.
Right.
But I think the silence on some of the issues that, you know, has gone uncommented is a bit problematic.
Is a bit problematic. Just as I asked, we are wrapping up, but just as I asked of that of your committee,
Yeah.
This one has to do with the entire minority. If the finance minister comes again with another concession and he still maintains that the 1.75% e-levy is what he is going by, what would be the decision? What would the minority do? You are not the minority leader anyway. You may have a position on this.
Justice, you want me to preempt what will happen? I will not go on that tangent.
Right?
No.
I know.
The leadership of the minority are holding this caucus together.
Right.
And I think that when we get there, any decision that will be made will be the decision of the entire minority caucus. So I will not sit down and have a view of what will happen in the future.
But do you think that the minority will accept anything other than scrapping it?
I can't comment for now.
Very well.
For now,
Very well.
what I know is that it's a no. But when we get there, under our leadership, a decision will be made, I believe.
Honorable, we are in the festive season, and Parliament, probably you'll be dissolving Parliament anytime soon. Is it dissolving or you'll be breaking? Let me use the word.
The appropriate word is rising.
Rising. Okay, so you'll be rising.
Yeah.
Anytime soon.
Yeah.
What do you have for your constituents and all of that?
Well, except to wish them a happy Christmas and a new year. My constituency, the Bumpurugu constituency, knows that I love them so much, and they have
right.
we are sitting right now. It is their office.
Very well.
So I would like to thank the people of Bumpurgu constituency, the chiefs and elders, the workers and the farmers.
Right.
That I am very happy that you have brought me to Parliament. I'm here, and whatever I do it with your interest. I will never take decisions that I have not consulted you. I will always consult you and have an idea of what you want me to do, and that is what I will do. I will wish them a happy Christmas. Everybody should go about their business with caution at this period, because there are all kinds of road accidents during this time and all kinds of bad things. So people should be very careful to go about their activities with caution, so we can all migrate into the new year together and continue to build Mother Ghana. Thank you so much, Honorable, for allowing. You want me to say it in my language?
Oh yes, of course. I mean, that is allowed.
Oh, okay.
That's allowed. Yeah.
Okay. To chamba betimba namba na mbamba mpanfu tiketini ni pok halibunchian na ya jinka kana nkokumba ya pakena ya mantuntuone katere mwit na ay nkan tuntuone na diti ke mina yem kumola bar ke jindupo so dimba kinsatu nana biya city idu duktumba ya biyongomba mfunti ke tini happy Christmas you know ibene so kurkam saka ibelafia ke 2022 ke tonkwa na lafia ki moni pokiti yenu impoma.
Right, thank you so much, Honorable, for giving us this opportunity. We are so grateful for your time. And the people of Bumpurgu, very soon will be there. Your Member of Parliament is here working assiduously to make sure that something better probably gets to the constituency. And we will also support him, you know, whichever way, to make sure that whatever it is that you deserve will get to you. This is time will allow us on the program. Make a time with us, same time tomorrow. My name is Justice Appiah, and the show has been Hot News. Goodbye.
Truly African.